A day keeps the Jaguars away from the Super Bowl. What a day to admire efficiency. New England smarter football. Why hate it? Embrace it. That's coming up.
Thanks, Colin. Time for our final topic of the day. The Cavs defense hit a new low on Saturday night, losing 148-124 at home to the Thunder. After the game, LeBron was asked if Ty Lue's job is in danger and said, quote, "I would hope not, but I really don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with our team."
He doesn't know, Skip. He's a player. He's a player, Skip. He's not a coach. He's not the general manager. But I tell you what, he keep losing by all these points. 28 to Minnesota, 34 to Toronto, 24. Skip, you score 124 and you lose by 24. You give up 76 in the first half. You know they're going to play better in the second half. They give up about 50. They give up 72. Yeah, T. Lue's on the hot seat, and it doesn't get any easier. Skip, they're going to have to make a major move. They're going to have to make a major shake. Skip, and I'm going to be done with it. IT just doesn't fit.
Nope, he doesn't. I told you before he came he was not going to fit. And I told you that assistant coach Lue is going to be in trouble here because somebody's going to have to be sacrificed. Somebody's going to have to pay the price. And if they hadn't won 18 of 19 earlier in the year, I'd say, well, okay. But now you look at it and you say, well, is his voice just not resonating anymore in the locker room?
And David Black, you see David Black trying to clown Skip? He up there, he coaching the All-Star game.
I don't think he's trying to clown.
I just hope we don't give up as many points as the Cavs did. Oh, you got jokes on David Black.
Oh, it's so petty.
Yeah, he make me sick.
Very good.
That's it
for us. We'll be back tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern.
See, there you go.
Right now, Colin Cowherd gives you 8 reasons why the Patriots proved their greatness again. The Herd starts now.
What a day. This is The Herd, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Live in Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Christine Leahy is joining me on a great Monday.
I think you might be kind of happy about the results from last night.
About 3:30 in the afternoon yesterday, I'm thinking, I got to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars for 9 days, 10 days. Oh, my God.
You have to have faith in Tom Brady.
Listen, I root, and I've told you this before, I root for interesting. You know, I'm kind of in the tire fire business. And say what you want, this morning is an interesting day. Let me start with this. I've seen New England play Jacksonville before, and so had you. And New England-Jacksonville was 4 hours. You saw that game before. It was called New England versus Atlanta in the Super Bowl. It was called New England versus Seattle in the Super Bowl. For 3.5 hours, you had convinced yourself that the young, chatty, cocky team with a cool nickname, Saxonville, Rise Up, Legion of Boom. I mean, they talked a good game. They'd beaten other combatants. They had convinced you. Don't be dishonest here. In all 3 of those games, you got on Twitter and flexed your social media muscle. Belichick's going down. Brady's overrated. You got on social media in all 3 of those games. Yesterday, Atlanta Super Bowl, Seattle Super Bowl. It was the same game. It was the exact same game where a team comes in with what's perceived to be the better roster, more great, quote, athletes to take on the system. Of course, athletes get tired. Systems never do. Employees get tired. Brands never do. That's why you build a brand, you build a system. It can flourish even when Gronk is hurt, or Edelman's out, or Dante Hightower gets hurt. So Jacksonville's defense, Atlanta's offense, Seattle's defense, they take a lead on the Patriots. They're going 100 miles an hour. Tom Brady getting hit a little bit, struggling. New England, a little overwhelmed initially with the speed and maybe the play action and the exotic plays. Jacksonville's up 10 in the fourth. Atlanta up 28-3. Seattle up 10 in the fourth. Then they do this thing in football, it's called halftime, and the better coach walks in and makes adjustments. You know, Saban does that a lot. Belichick does it for a living. And then in the second half, your great defense, Brady starts cobbling together drives against Saxonville. Legion of Boom, rise up. Starts cobbling those drives together. Your defense is on the field a little longer. A couple of guys hobble off. The big uglies up front get a little tired. Pass rush isn't as great. Brady manipulates your corners. And all of a sudden, your offense on the other side of the ball starts feeling the pressure and getting tight. Jacksonville, you had the game. You stripped the ball. Miles Jack up 10 in the fourth. Loosest team in the league. Saxonville tightened up 3 and out. You lost it. You had it. It was over. But then again, so did Atlanta and so did Seattle. Wasted opportunity. Yeah, I'm sure it was rigged. I'm sure the NFL wanted Saxonville to have the football 11 more minutes. It was all rigged. Let me give you an interesting number. Atlanta, Super Bowl, Seattle, Super Bowl, and Jacksonville yesterday. They've been outscored by Tom Brady in the fourth quarter, 47-3. Is that rigged? In all 3 games, the better coach, the better system, and the better quarterback adjusted and beat you. Colin, you got to give Jacksonville credit. Hey, I'm not MasterCard. None, 0. I don't give Atlanta credit. Guarantees don't mean anything, and either to cool nicknames for your offense or defense. You talked it, you brought it, but like all cocky guys, they get tight late. New England doesn't flaunt it, doesn't talk it, adjusts at half. For the 2 plays you think are rigged, you know how that works in life, don't you? Less successful people have to blame somebody. My boss, my wife, the president, the universe, the refs. It's got to be somebody else's fault this morning, right, Atlanta? Right, Legion of Boom? Right, Saxonville? By the way, the game was very even. First downs, both had 22. Total yards, dead even. Total drives, dead even. Yards per play, virtually dead even. Yards per pass, dead even. Both teams 3 sacks. Both teams yards per rush, mostly even. Red zone, both efficient. The difference in this game is the difference in every big New England game, situational football. But Jacksonville had more penalties. Yes. They basically are the Florida version of the Seahawks defense. They play fast and aggressive, especially in the secondary. So you had 6 penalties. But New England, Jacksonville, don't feel bad. You're in really good company. Loud, young, cocky, out-coached, out-quarterbacked. Players get tired. Systems never do. Let me segue to this because I'm not going to lie. I do think the next 2 weeks are more interesting given we have, I don't know, the reigning dynasty in professional football playing and not Jacksonville. But let me segue to the NFC Championship game where the Minnesota Vikings absolutely, inarguably blew it. Remember, they were 13-3 this year. They're going to pull back now. Yeah, Minnesota had their opportunity. This year, for a good portion of the year, there was no Aaron Rodgers. Carson Wentz, MVP, got hurt. Matt Ryan had a new offensive coordinator. Kind of clunky. Seattle and Dallas imploded. You got a miracle touchdown at home with no time left as a Saints defensive back suddenly tackled air. Plus, the Super Bowl was in Minnesota. Vikings, you blew it. Aaron Rodgers returns next year. So does Carson Wentz. No Super Bowl in Minnesota. Jared Goff and Sean McVay, year 2. Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyle Shanahan, NFC, a full season. Now, instead of a third-place schedule, you have a first-place schedule. Let me throw this on the screen. You couldn't create a more difficult schedule. Next year, the Vikings face Aaron Rodgers, the Rams, Brady, Wentz, Seattle on the road. You also get Breeze, Aaron Rodgers, and Jimmy G, the handsome one, with a 5 o'clock shadow at home. And you don't know who your quarterback is because you have 3, none under contract. Minnesota, you blew it. You were too busy perfecting that stupid Skol chant. Yeah, spend a little less time on the nicknames, fellas. Rise up, Saxonville, Legion of Boom, Skol Chant. It's about football, adjustments, being smart. Same reason I use Netflix, Amazon, Starbucks, and Uber is the same reason I like New England and why they're favored by 6.5 points in the Super Bowl. Why hate it? Admire it. No gimmicks, no nicknames, no guarantees, no chatter. 10 stitches in the quarterback's throwing hand. And they're in the Super Bowl again against a Philadelphia team that's fun. But let me make a guarantee. Who do you think's going to talk the most over the next 2 weeks? Who are almost all of you going to pick over the next 2 weeks? Nick Foles, Brady, Doug Peterson, Belichick. You know what side I'm on. And Minnesota, you blew it. All right, good stuff today, and we're absolutely packed. We're kind of falling into a trap here in football. We do it all the time, and it's easy to fall into certain traps, right? Even like when you drive on the road, they have speed traps. They know there's certain parts of a road or a highway, people speed up, they have speed traps. And law enforcement sits around those speed traps and gives you a ticket. We do football traps as well, and I'm already hearing one this morning. Settle down. 45 minutes from now, Peter King joins us. Top of next hour, where Colin was right, where Colin was wrong. Guys, is your New Year's resolution coming off track? Have you hit a post-holiday wall? This is where M-Drive can help you get off the couch and start that new routine. M-Drive, you heard me talk about it for months. Nutrition science, 5 clinically tested ingredients to increase your strength, stamina, and endurance. And if you're thinking M-Drive can't possibly help, not true. They have the perfect product for you. M-Drive Prime, if you're just getting off the couch and getting rolling. M-Drive Boost and Burn is the fat burner. M-Drive Workforce to sustain your energy. If you're looking for M-Drive, go to Walgreens, Duane Reade, Vitamin Shoppe, Sprouts, and GNC. Refine your Prime with M-Drive. That's buymdrive.com and type in the promo code HERD, H-E-R-D, for 25% off. Buymdrive.com, code HERD. All nutrition science here, no gimmicks.
Derek Brunson looks for redemption against Jacare Souza. UFC Fight Night, Saturday at 8 Eastern on Fox.
In the history of people being asked how they like their eggs, we're pretty sure no one's ever said microwaved. You deserve a breakfast made with respect. Try the new bacon, egg, and cheese on brioche. Panera, food as it should be.
We wrote the book on car pricing. Now you can be a pricing expert with the Kelley Blue Book Price Advisor, a tool that analyzes what people actually paid for the car you want. Why pay more for your next car?
You doing your taxes?
Yeah.
Why are you using TurboTax? Well, H&R Block More Zero lets you file online for free even if you itemize deductions. TurboTax doesn't do that.
Oh, man. H&R Block More Zero lets you file online for free.
Get your taxes won.
If you have moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis and you're talking to your rheumatologist about a medication, this is Humira. This is Humira, helping to relieve my pain and protect my joints from further irreversible damage. This is Humira, helping me reach for more. Humira has been clinically studied for over 20 years. Humira works for many adults. It targets and blocks a specific source of inflammation that contributes to RA symptoms.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB. Hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Talk to your doctor and visit Humira.com. This is Humira at Work.
Medicine isn't practiced by saints, but there's still plenty of good doctors trying to do the right thing.
We can't save everyone.
Says who? The Resident premieres tonight at 9/8 Central on Fox.
Attention blood thinner users. Thousands of blood thinner users may have been exposed to serious risk by these dangerous medications. If your loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney for a free consultation. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
Call 1-800-765-8664. Again, that's 1-800-765-8664.
If you don't have life insurance, a final expense insurance plan pays cash to your family for final and all other expenses. If you're unable to purchase life insurance due to a pre-existing or current medical condition, call right now for information and a free consultation. Rates will never increase, the policy cannot be canceled, and there are no restrictions on how your beneficiaries can use the money.
Call 1-800-243-5089. 1-800-243-5089.
So what's the trunk space like in this thing?
I think it holds about 50 clowns.
Baskets, all new season, premieres Tuesday at 10 on FX.
Start your day with First Things First. Join Chris Carter, Nick Wright, and Jenna Wolfe for the best morning show on television. First Things First, weekdays on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Your morning routine just got a whole lot more fun.
There is a sense in Pittsburgh, oh my God, they're reeling. Oh my God, it's crazy. Oh my God, we're spinning. Oh my God, Tomlin, this isn't working out. Hopefully Ben doesn't retire. But let me ask you, if you just took out Bill Belichick and the Patriots, would Mike Tomlin be getting this heat? Yes. The Steelers are always good with Tomlin. They just don't always look good when compared to New England and Belichick. Take out Lonzo's first 25 NBA games. Take out everybody's first 25. In his last 13, have you seen his numbers? They're better than Ben Simmons.
A lot of point guards that are in or will be in the Hall of Fame started out slow. We've kind of become accustomed to thinking our point guards need to average 25 points a game.
He's old school.
Yeah, he's more old school. But he's getting comfortable, and you see who's the catalyst and the culture changer on that team, and it's Lonzo.
Drew Brees, right now, first, second, third best quarterback in the league, says he doesn't plan on testing free agency. 4 words. I don't get it.
I'm not shocked at that. He's got a comfort level with Sean Payton. And look, he just saw all these new elements, come into his team over the last 2 years. And I think he looks and he says, we are really, really close. And they are close. My gut feeling is he's probably going to stay in New Orleans.
We're talking a little bit about the All-Star. The votes are in. They take Steph from the West and LeBron from the East, and it's like a playground. You can select whoever you want. And the NBA doesn't want to televise this for 2 reasons. When Steph and LeBron choose teams, they could defend people. And by the way, the entire NBA draft, AAU basketball, is about we'll take you and not you. That's what basketball is. But the world's richest basketball players, we can't televise this because it could be very offensive. Who cares? Say goodbye to the grocery store. Hello to HelloFresh. Healthy ingredients, easy to follow recipes shipped to your door. HelloFresh.com/Colin. $30 off, free shipping. Greg Jennings in about 10 minutes. It's funny. I'm watching the games yesterday, and at any given time, again, because of my age, I'm older. I've watched football since the late 70s, but I really, really, really dove into football in the 80s, the 90s, turn of the century, and now. So I'm 4 decades in to following the NFL, and at any given decade, it's always been the same. There's about 6 to 8 what you would call elite quarterbacks. That's it. And then about every year, college gives you 1 or 2, and one's usually not as good as you thought, and one makes it. That's just the way it works. You can find some outlier years. The Elway Marino year is an outlier year, but the outlier, that kind of that proves, the exception proves the rule. that the rule is there's 6 to 8 really great quarterbacks in the league at any one time. And what I mean by great is they don't need a great defense. They don't have to have the best coach. They can have a B coach, a B defense. They can have injuries, and they can carry you. Doesn't mean they'll carry you to a Super Bowl. Doesn't mean they'll carry you to the conference championship. But Andrew Luck carried a bad GM and an average coach and a bad roster to the AFC championship. That's an elite quarterback. Fans often confuse a guy that has a great team and a great coordinator and he wins a bunch, and you're like, oh, that's a franchise guy. Right now in the NFL, we got 6 to 8 guys who are what you call elite. Brady, Wentz, Breeze, Ben, Rodgers, Andrew Luck, Russell Wilson. I think Derek Carr's the closest. That's it. That's it. Cam Newton and Matt Ryan in their careers have had one great year each. Don't qualify. Don't qualify. They just don't. Okay, they're too inconsistent. Matt Ryan, again this year, went back to his career average when he lost Kyle Shanahan. Okay, now I think Jimmy Garoppolo could join that group. And I think Derek Carr with Gruden could join that group. But that's it. You're looking at 6 to 8 guys. So why the last couple of weeks and the last month have we said, oh, Case Keenum, oh, my God, Case Keenum's got everything going for him. He's got a terrific offensive coordinator who's now getting the New York Giants head job. He's got a terrific, not great, but a good defense. He has unbelievable wide receiver talent and talented running backs. Okay, he's not an elite quarterback. You did this to Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has a great tight end, couple of receivers, Jay Gruden, unbelievable running backs. Once they got hurt, Kirk Cousins couldn't win football games. Yesterday, Tom Brady's elite. Tom Brady loses Edelman before the year, his best defensive player, Gronk during the game, trails late, Jacksonville can pin their ears back, they know he's got to throw, and he still wins the game. I mean, Nick Foles, I'm going to have to listen to this now for the next couple of weeks. Oh, you got to franchise Nick Foles. Folks, you can make any quarterback look good. Blake Bortles, a lot this year, looked pretty good. Nick Foles yesterday looked great. Nick Foles has a offensive-minded head coach, an offensive coordinator that's probably going to get a head coaching job, a really, really good deep running backs. He's got a tremendous defense, so he doesn't have to take unnecessary risks. Now, he's a kind of an athletic guy. He can move around. I watched a ton of him in college at Arizona. I've watched him in the NFL. He, like Case Keenum, is a terrific backup. By the way, Tim Tebow went in a 6-game winning streak. Kickers. Schedule was easy. Playing at home. Great defense. Had a nice wide receiver running back. But we're trying to fool ourselves. Philadelphia's perfect for Nick Foles. He's comfortable. He's got the coaches. He's got the defense. He's got the running game. He was at home. They got a bye. They're playing Minnesota off a miracle win when they looked very ordinary. People freak out when I say Cam Newton, Matt Ryan. They're not elite. Elite is you can just lose people. You can lose Gronk at halftime. Drew Brees is down 17-0 in Minnesota. Minnesota knows he's got to throw. He's on the road, and he carves up the Vikings defense. That's an elite quarterback. It's not Matt Ryan needing the perfect offensive coordinator to get to a Super Bowl. The guy leaves, and Matt comes back down to earth. Do you see Matt Ryan's last 6 games this year? November football, December football, January football. He was a C-plus quarterback. So, Nick Foles, nice game, just a guy, and he's going against Belichick and Brady. But I'd say this about Nick Foles, about Case Keenum, about Blake Bortles. Come on. At any given time in the world, there's 6 to 8 great quarterbacks who can carry average blank. Average rosters, average receiving corps, average coordinators, average coaches. 6 to 8, that's it. And college gives you 2 a year. One underachieves, one's as good as you thought. And that's the pattern for 4 decades. Christine with the news.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
How tough would you say Tom Brady is now after that?
I think all football players, to be honest with you, I think you can't play this game without being tough. I have good friends who have played NFL, like several good friends, who are hurt the whole season.
You are, but it's just so interesting how at the beginning of the season, everyone was saying how Tom Brady's old, this was going to be his last year, we were going to see him decline, and then he played like he did yesterday with stitches in his hand.
Yeah.
However, after the game, Brady said he was not bothered at all by the injury, or not much at least.
I thought, out of all the plays, my season can't end on a handoff in practice. we didn't come this far to end on a handoff. We never had anything like it. Well, I've had a couple crazy injuries, but this was pretty crazy. And they come up and you just deal with them, and I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do. On Wednesday night, and then Thursday, wasn't sure, and then Friday gained a little confidence, and then Saturday was trying to figure out what we could do, and Sunday, try to come out here and make it happen.
And now, of course, they can tell us what happened and who did it, because I think everyone would be out for Rex Burke had they known, and he not been able to perform as well. Bill Belichick, you might imagine, maybe would have some sympathy, be thankful for Tom and his performance. So here he is being extremely, extremely empathetic with Brady.
Can you just speak to the resourcefulness of Tom dealing with something like that midweek and then coming out and playing a huge game like that?
I mean, look, Tom did a great job, and he's a tough guy. We all know that, all right? But I'm talking about open heart surgery.
I would be mad if I was Brady and I heard that, not talking about open heart surgery. I can't imagine having 12 stitches. Granted, I can't imagine being a professional football player either, but 12 stitches in my hand and having to throw the ball like that.
Yeah, I watched. I never, ever, ever thought it was an issue. And I because I kept looking. I'm like, he made some deep throws. I'm like, okay, so he's got that. And he was kind of lucky. It wasn't wet where the bandages could have come off. It was kind of a dry,
Well, they were gluing it back together a lot during the game.
Yeah, I mean, because you sweat. But it wasn't. It could have been like 9 degrees, wet, and it was. I watched. I didn't think it had any impact. The only thing in the game that I thought had impact, and I really did, when Gronk couldn't play late with about 8 minutes left, I'm like, God, he's such a weapon in the red zone, and they're going to get down there, and they're going to have to rely on tiny Danny Amendola in the red zone.
Hey,
and that was the one thing I'm like, that this is where you miss. It's not, you don't miss Gronk between the 30s, but when you play a good defense, Jacksonville's defense is overstated. It's not great. It's good. Gronk is just a huge. He's like an NBA player, and they had a bunch of little slot receivers, and they still got the touchdown.
But they're always good with little slot receivers.
They are. Edelman, Hogan, Danny Amendola, who I think's their third best guy, but I thought, that's his best game as a pro. That was Danny Amendola's best game as a football player.
I was nervous at the beginning when he walked out and he had the glove on one hand and then he just had the black tape on the other hand. It was just so much anticipation to see how he was going to do it. Did you watch the pre-shows?
Yeah, a little bit,
I mean, it was just Glovegate.
No, it was. And I give credit to all the networks that did that. That's what I cared about. I mean, I didn't care about all the other stuff. What I cared about was I wanted to see Brady's hand.
Yeah. Well, I think that the hand talk will continue, and it did in some of the interviews. And Brady was asked about the stitches specifically and when he's going to get them out. And here's his answer.
I think as soon as I get the stitches out, then I think it'll be good to go. So based on everything.
How soon might that happen?
Pretty soon. I think hopefully this week, midweek, and then I can just get out there and just get normal treatment like I always do and be ready to go.
Is it normal to get your stitches out that fast? I thought stitches have to stay for a really long time, especially if it's 12.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that.
And it's not like you put on that clear Band-Aid thing when you're done.
You know what really helps Brady more than anything? I think, Goulet, we had talked about this. When you're older, you can be great. I mean, Kobe had 60 in his last game. It generally is your recovery time. A big part of this is Brady got a bye week before Tennessee, and then they didn't have to travel for Jacksonville. Now, Christine, he gets 2 weeks. A lot of what's happening in New England is they're thorough enough in the regular season where their old quarterback gets to A, get a bye, and then B, he never has to leave his state. So when I watched Brady yesterday, I think the thing I was the most impressed with was his energy in the game late was I mean, he was on the sidelines. His energy was, he is a 40-year-old quarterback. He never leaves the state. I mean, when's the last time he got on a plane? Miami? Monday Night Football? I mean, honestly, it was like a month and a half ago. I think that for an old player to be able to get buys and get sleep and not travel, I think I get worn out if I fly to Salt Lake and come back, I need a day to catch up. I seriously do.
I feel like I need a tiny violin for you. It also sounds like you're talking about LeBron. A little bit about LeBron.
No, I'm not.
Which
what happened?
I wanted to bring up anyway, so I'm glad that you started down this path. If you watched basketball on Saturday night, you would know that Oklahoma City beat the Cavs 148 to 124 in Cleveland, by the way. And afterwards, LeBron was asked about the Cavs and their playoff chances, and he kind of channeled his inner Jim Mora.
Yeah, we're not ready for playoffs. We can't even start thinking about that. Not the way we're playing right now. We can easily get bounced early in the playoffs if they started next weekend. So, yeah, I haven't even begun thinking about the postseason.
Oh, getting a little chippy, I think. A little trouble in paradise, if you call Cleveland paradise. Listen, no shots to Cleveland. I've been there. I like it. I really believe that LeBron is going to wind up in Houston.
Oh, I don't think that's far-fetched.
I really do. I think that's where he's going to go.
I
think he might know that, too. Not 100% yet. I think I'll probably wait to see how it plays out, but I really do believe he'll wind up in Houston.
I think that's a pretty good guess. Players like Houston, and they got some good players, and Daryl Morey. I know LeBron respects people who evolve, and Daryl Morey is very much come on, let's get better, let's take chances. That's if I think I'd love to see him land in L.A. or New York, but if he went to Houston, and Houston then challenged Golden State, you and I, like the NBA, we'd have a 3 or 4 year, like, Ollie Frazier. Like, we'd have a...
You think he's got 3 or 4 solid
I think if you could go...
And Chris Paul, I mean, they're both...
Well, yeah, but if I'm LeBron and I go play with James Harden, I don't have to carry the scoring load.
That's true.
And that allows me to... For the first time, LeBron's like, I don't have to be the guy. Because James is a better pure shooter than LeBron. It's not even close.
Right.
I think he's a better pure offensive talent. LeBron's just bigger and stronger. But I would root for what you just predicted. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think that is very likely. I also do not think that DeAndre Jordan is going to wind up in Houston, even though he asked last week, or apparently he said he wants to be traded there.
Yeah, I don't think they need him.
Well, Clint Capella would be a bit of an issue.
Why would I want to pay so much for DeAndre when I have... All right, Christine with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd
By the way,
Line
Brady
News.
left home December 17th for Pittsburgh, so it was a 1-hour flight. I mean, I thought their defense yesterday was on the field for 71 plays. Jacksonville's defense was on the field for 61 plays. They looked gassed at the end. New England's was on the field for 71 plays, and I thought at the end they had a pass rush. Their secondary was making incredible plays. I think a part of New England's strength here is they're well rested.
How long was your flight to Park City?
Hour and a half. I was exhausted.
Oh, yeah, it's really draining.
Greg Jennings, get in here, a Super Bowl champ and a multiple-time Pro Bowler.
I know. I'm glad you're here, Greg.
No, she thinks I'm crazy, but I'm watching New England yesterday. Their defense was on the field for 10 more plays than Jacksonville, and New England's defense was roaring at the end of the game. I mean, their secondary was tight on guys. They had a pass rush. I thought Jacksonville late looked a little gassed defensively.
I don't know if they looked gassed defensively. I just thought they got out-game planned the whole second half.
You did?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what New England does. They make in-game adjustments better than any team. They make half-time adjustments better than any team. Think about it. When you're having success, and things are working, and you're up on the champs, your mindset is at halftime, guys, let's just keep doing what we're doing. Right. This is working. The other locker room, Bill Belichick knows that's what you're saying. Guys, they're not going to change what they're doing. We see what they're doing. Let's make our adjustments and now let them play to us and to our tune. And that's what typically happens. And I think that wears on a team because now they go from really punching you to now playing defense.
That's a great point.
Not press. Now they're trying to press, and they're really winning.
You know, Tony Romo made a really interesting comment, and you can talk to this because you know the playbook. Tony said at halftime, he said, listen, Jacksonville's run all their cute play action stuff. He goes, so New England's seen all their little exotics or whatever the word they use. He goes, now it's just football off script. Mm-hmm. He said, New England, and it was funny because I thought, oh, that's interesting. So Atlanta dumped out the crate of plays on New England, and then at halftime, okay, we showed them Jacksonville, Seattle in the Super Bowl. They dump out their plays. So at halftime, you know, New England, why does New England not apparently dump out their crate of plays? Do they have more plays? They were running trick plays in the second half.
No, I don't think they have more plays. I just think they're creative with the way their formation variation is. When you look, if I'm Doug Peterman, and I'm Philadelphia.
Doug Peterson, yeah.
Yeah, Doug Peterson, I'm sorry. Like, formation variation is everything. You are going to run the plays that have gotten you to this point.
Sure.
But now let's make them appear different. Perception is everything. If I'm a linebacker and I see the running back split out, or if I see the running back right behind my tight end, or I see him offside, or I see receiver, I'm a safety or a corner, and I see receivers in different positions, I'm still thinking. What happens is when you don't change your formation variation, when you don't switch the way things appear at the line,
defense gets faster.
They can play without thinking, and you cannot do that against a Tom Brady led New England Patriots team. He's going to give them confidence because you know in the back of their minds, okay, they're not going to be able to stop Tom in the offense every single play.
By the way, there's also something to be said. Jacksonville knows what happened to Seattle in the Super Bowl, and they know what happened to Atlanta in the Super Bowl, and now it starts happening to Jacksonville. And I'm sitting there watching that. I thought a huge play was that Miles Jack fumble. Now, that's a 50-50 call. The refs gave it to Jacksonville. I'm sitting at home thinking, whatever the ref initially called, you're not going to be able to overturn it. Had they given it to New England, you wouldn't overturn it. The refs actually end up giving the ball to Jacksonville. And this you could have called this either way. In Jacksonville, people are all worked up. He didn't run for a touchdown. But you could, right there, I'm not sure Deion Lewis doesn't have. I mean, it's just.
Well, it's a fumble because I was saying this at home. If the ball starts to come out and it hits the ground, it's a fumble because the ball started to come. It came loose. It was jarred loose. So the only reason why it didn't hit the ground is because it laid in Jack's belly, and so he got up. He should have kept running. He should have. But I thought this play was huge too because.
That's the game. It's the game.
The Patriots were gaining momentum, and they stopped it. They counterpunched it, and it's like, okay, if they can put up points, if they can continue to advance, they got them.
But here's the problem. Jacksonville took this turnover 3 and out.
Yep.
That was the game.
It's like it never happened.
It never happened. So you can complain about what the officials did. What did you make of the pass interference calls? There were a couple of them. Now my takeaway is Jacksonville's very much like Seattle. Their whole reputation is we're young, long, fast, and cocky. New England plays a system. They don't want you to go over the top. I didn't have a problem with that call, did you?
I didn't have a problem with it. And the problem that I did have is with AJ Bouye. You're better than that, man. You've played so much with more confidence all year. It's almost like the Patriots said, okay, if you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us at what we do best. We throw the football. That's pass interference. That's pass interference.
Of course it
is. He
is.
never turned around. But they kept them honest. I've never seen him play with that much cushion. But what the Patriots were able to do, they kept going vertical, kept posing a threat down the field to make those defenders stay off. So it gave them everything underneath. The Jalen Ramsey PI, I mean, when you're throwing the ball down the field, typically the mindset is, okay, I want to give my guys a chance. If I don't give my guys a chance, hopefully we get a PI. If we don't get a PI, if the worst scenario, it's a long punt. Okay, we don't put our defense in a bad situation. It's just like a punt. But with what the Patriots were able to do, they forced Jacksonville to be honest and to continue playing the vertical passing game, knowing that they're going to hit Amendola across the middle. They're going to keep coming. They're going to get Cooks on the curls and the comebacks.
I got to tell you something. New England, for as great as this defense is, Brady had a lot of time to throw.
Yes.
That right there's a 3rd and 18. I mean, I know Jacksonville is great, but I'm watching this game and I'm like, Brady in the second half had a lot of time to throw it.
How many times did you hear Calais Campbell's name?
You didn't. I mean, honestly,
impressive.
Start counting in all these plays we're watching. 1001, 1002, 1003. That's 3.5 seconds on a 3rd and 18. Where's the pressure?
The point for me, it's not even about the pressure. The lack of rerouting a receiver when your quarterback is as accurate and is as great as Tom Brady. You didn't reroute them off the line of scrimmage. You didn't disrupt any of their route progression, nothing. So you threw no timing off.
Look at these. I mean, these are 22, 24-yard throws. These are deep routes, comeback stuff. Yeah,
this is 7-on-7 for Tom Brady.
Okay, by the way, let's talk about Minnesota. You played there briefly. You played there for a couple years, and they were getting that Skol chant down. I think they blew it. 13-3. Next year they have a first-place schedule. Aaron Rodgers comes back. Jared Goff a second year with McVay. Garoppolo's got Kyle Shanahan. Their schedule next year at New England, at Seattle, at Green Bay, at Philadelphia. I think the Super Bowl window closed for many. Am I nuts?
I don't think you're nuts. I think
look at that schedule.
I definitely think that they don't care about who they have to play. Will it be a tough schedule? Absolutely.
Brutal.
But they believe that they're one of the.
Who's their quarterback? Who would you make their quarterback?
That's the concern right there.
Okay, they have 3, none under contract.
They have 3, none under contract. I don't think Case Keenum will be their guy.
See, I think, I go back to this. My gut feeling is they wanted to franchise Case Keenum, but it's like, do you pay him $25?
No.
See, I think you go with Bridgewater. He's the kid you drafted.
Absolutely. You're not going to franchise Case Keenum.
You can't pay him $25
You're not going to do that.
So what you do is basically you drafted Teddy. You like Teddy. By the way, with this defense, you don't need Teddy to be Mr. Vertical. Teddy's a smart kid that can make the throws. I always thought to me, Teddy Bridgewater high end was Matt Ryan.
I don't know. I wouldn't even give him Matt Ryan yet.
No, not yet.
Okay.
That's the high end.
Okay, I got you. I need to see more from Teddy. But what I will say this about Teddy is because of the way he was able to work back into being able to play, putting himself in position to play, you owe it to him to give him a look. You just do. And the fan base loves – Mike Zimmer loves Teddy. This team loves Teddy Bridgewater. This is their guy, as you alluded to. They drafted him. They wanted him to be in this position to where he could take them to the promised land, and it just hasn't happened.
Well, you couldn't pull Case Keenum out.
You could not. You couldn't do it.
You get trapped as a coaching staff.
This game did it for them.
Yes.
This game did it for them.
Absolutely. No question.
That's what Mike Zimmer wanted. He wanted the game to play out.
By the way, if I just said to you, New England, Philadelphia, Super Bowl, your initial gut feeling is?
New England, Super Bowl champs. I'm not going to put – hey, look, if I was a betting man, I'm not betting against. Although I do believe that the Eagles can beat them. I believe that a lot of teams can beat New England, and it never tends to happen.
Greg Jennings, good seeing you, bud.
Absolutely.
You've heard me talk about the amazing shave I get from Dollar Shave Club's razor, especially when I use that Dr. Carver shave butter. I'm here to tell you I'm never giving up my membership. In fact, I'm adding even more Dollar Shave Club products. They've got face, skin, shower, hair, everything you need, high premium stuff delivered to your door. And right now they're giving you a rare opportunity, and they only do this once. They'll give you their best razor for a month. And then they'll give you travel-size versions of their shave butter and their body cleanser. I use both, and it's just $5. After that, replacement cartridges ship a few bucks a month. They call it the Dollar Shave Club Starter Set. It's $5. It's exclusively at dollarshaveclub.com/Colin, C-O-L-I-N. The body cleanser, the shave butter, their best razor, $5. After that, replacement cartridges ship, a few bucks a month. It's the Herd.